On today's show, what is the LA Clippers ceiling and playoff situation? And also, I'm going to be answering questions from the fans on today's Locked On Clippers.
You are Locked On Clippers, your daily Los Angeles Clippers podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, sir. You were locking in with the Clips. Thank you for making Locked On Clippers the first listen of your day, your team every day. I'm your host, Darian Vaziri, born and raised in LA and in my 20th season as a Clipper fan. Been covering the Clippers for 5 years on my own personal YouTube channel, Dime Dropper, and 3 years right here on the Locked On Podcast Network for Locked On Clippers. Make sure you subscribe to both channels on YouTube. Hit the notification bell so you know every single time a video is posted. And of course, you can listen to Locked On Clippers wherever you get your podcasts. And of course, you can read the Locked On Clippers daily newsletter written by yours truly. That's right. Just go to lockedondaily.com for that. And this episode is brought to you by 5 Hour Energy. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from. Now, this episode is going to be an interesting one. We have our game against the Brooklyn Nets today, and if you're listening to this, you might have already seen the game, so that's why and you will be getting a Saturday episode as well, but that's why I wanted to make this episode a little bit more like evergreen, like for the next couple of days, that it doesn't have anything to do with this Brooklyn game. The Brooklyn game is the Brooklyn game. We should win it. We have to win it. Everybody's fully healthy, and when I see one of our beat writers tweet out, your LA Clippers are fully healthy, nobody's on the injury report. I mean, as a Clipper fan, doesn't matter if you're asking a Clipper fan in 2016 or you're asking a Clipper fan in 2025. We are as overjoyed as any fan base, if not the most overjoyed in the league, to hear that. Because if there's any franchise that's dealt with injuries in their history, it's the LA Clippers. I don't think anybody comes close. Now, I'm going to be discussing the first question that I was getting from a lot of people, and it's something that is obviously relevant. It's our ceiling, our playoff situation. And to be honest, in this first segment, I'm just kind of going to talk about the team in a way that, like, let's say you haven't watched one Clipper game this year and you're listening to this podcast, I think in this first segment, I want to just talk about what you should know. And then we're going to talk about Kawhi Leonard and his progression. And then, of course, I'm just going to answer more questions. But I want to begin with something that I saw this morning. The efficiency landscape, every single week, it seems, Kirk Goldsberry posts the last 10 games and where everybody ranks in certain metrics, and really just offensive and defensive rating and then net rating. Right now, for example, the Oklahoma City Thunder are number 1 in net rating, number 1 in offense, and number 2 in defense the last 10 games. But guess who's number 2 in net rating around the league in the last 10 games? It's the team that's 8-2 in the last 10. It's your team, the LA Clippers. Number 2 in net rating in the last 10 games, number 2 in offense, and number 4 in defense. Top 5 in both. That's championship status. Now, here's the thing. Are you going to be playing against Jalen Brunson-less Knicks in playoff series to win? Like, no, you're not. So the level of competition definitely matters, but we've got some great wins in there. We've got the Cavs game in there. Are we going to be playing against Memphis without Ja Morant? Maybe, honestly, who fired their coach today. I was asked, by the way, to talk about that, but I'm going to save that for later. Here's the thing. If you haven't watched the Clippers this year, this is what I will tell you. We lost Paul George. We went out and had some great pickups in the offseason that helped our defense and said, you know what? What we're going to do is we're going to have James Harden carry a bigger offensive load. Kawhi Leonard's going to be out for a little bit, but James Harden, being the floor raiser that he is, he's going to be able to carry our offense. What do we need around him? Defense and shooting. Well, we weren't able to get the shooting very much the shooting, but we got the defense. And we have Ivica Zubac and Norman Powell. I think the key to the Clippers being so good, though, early in the season without Kawhi was Norman Powell, like, being as good as he was. Because he may never have a stretch, and I'm not hoping for this or anything. I'm not saying this is the truth, because maybe next year you never know, but that may end up being, and there's no shame in it. He's had an incredible career so far, been a I mean, incredible might be a stretch, but how many guys can say they were part of a championship rotation? You know what I'm saying? I think that's incredible, in my opinion. And if you want to count basketball career, anybody that's made the NBA and had the success of Norman Powell that's an incredible career. So Norm is that a great career. Anybody that's in All-Star conversations, I think Jeff Teague had an incredible career. You know what I mean? Like, for all things considered. Yeah, not incredible if you compare it to like Jamal Wilkes or something, or like super random, like Peja Stojakovic. Like, I wouldn't say it's incredible compared to that, but you know, anyway, relative. But my point is that we went out and got some defensive guys. Derrick Jones Jr., Chris Dunn, and getting Nico Batum back. That was the point I was making was Norm might never have a stretch like that in his career again, what we saw in the first half of the season, and that's okay. But his early season stuff with James Harden's floor raising that you're going to get, and if it's a Zubac's increased role offensively that's continued to get bigger, and we've needed it to get bigger because we've underused him for years. That has been the reason why our offense has been, it hasn't been great, but it's been able to succeed. But it's our defense that's been the calling card all year. You bring in a Jeff Van Gundy, basically a defensive coordinator in the coaching staff, takes pride in every possession for his team defensively to get these schemes right and do the right things on that end of the floor. One of the things that Lon Murray talked about before the season is that the Clippers just want to attack the ball, be aggressive. Instead of trying to force guys baseline, let's funnel guys to the middle because that's where Zoo is. And let's all attack the ball handlers, get into the ball handler, make them go over screens and just tire them out. And I think we've done a really good job of that all season long. I think guys like Derrick Jones Jr. and Chris Dunn in particular have been so good about, attacking loose balls and reading where the next pass is going to go and playing the passing lanes, especially Chris Dunn. I think that's been amazing. And then Nico Batum is always going to help defensively, but he's had games this season where he's barely played. But I think all those put together, plus James Harden being better than people still, kind of realize he still is. And Norman Powell having basically a breakout season at age 31. And then Zoo being, the best version of himself, the best year of his career. Mixed with the best season of Derrick Jones Jr.'s career. I'm pretty sure he's had a career high in total points this season. And then Chris Dunn having the best season of his career. He's never had this big a role on a good basketball team. We've had great years individually from guys. Amir Coffey, for all the criticism that he receives, has still had the best season of his career. Part of the reason why Terrence was traded was because we felt that Amir Coffey was playing better than him. So a lot of guys having career years. It really starts with James Harden and Ivica Zubac, but Norman Powell, I thought in the first half of the season, is the reason why we are where we are. And then right now with Kawhi Leonard back, it took a second to get him integrated into things. And I think post All-Star break is where we've really gotten Kawhi going slowly but surely. And it took a while. It took longer than the other years when he came back from injury to get back into his, stride, get back into form. It took longer than the other years. And that minutes restriction felt like forever. It was like we were never going to be off of it. But now that we're off of it, you're seeing in the month of March what he's been able to do. And now his scoring average for the season is up to 20 points per game. 20 points per game, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal on 49, 39, 78 splits. So we're slowly but surely getting to that 50-40 territory with him. He might be there by the end of the season. So that's the direction that he's trending in. He's played 29 games and started all of them. His minute average is up to 31. But in the last 10 games, or actually, I don't even want to say the last 10 games. In the month of March, he is averaging 25, 7.5 rebounds, and 3.5 assists on 52, 39, 80 splits. So he is performing like the Kawhi Leonard that we remember. And after a really rough patch where we lost 4 out of 5 games after the All-Star break, we came back and have now won 8 out of our last 10. So the team has responded. Kawhi Leonard is looking like Kawhi Leonard again. The last domino is Norman Powell returning from injury and playing at his best self that we saw pre-injury with Kawhi in the lineup to see what the true ceiling of this team can be. Of course, I forgot, I haven't mentioned Bogdanovic and the impact that he's made since he's been traded. He's refound his shooting touch since he's become a Clipper. And then Ben Simmons has helped us in some games. But overall, Norman Powell, the last game against the Knicks, he it was his best game yet, and we're starting to see what this team can look like. And let's just say it's a dangerous team that's trending in the right direction. And if you have not tuned into the Clippers yet this season, well, let me tell you, I just told you everything you need to know. Start watching now. So the point being, guys, the main takeaway here is we still have a lot to prove in these last 11 games. We still have a lot to prove. You know what I mean? We haven't sealed 10 games. We haven't sealed anything yet. Anything. And we won the first game of this road trip. Nets game is going to be important. Cleveland game, I assume that we're going to load manage some guys that game. And then Orlando game will be huge. If we can go 2-2 or 3-1 on this road trip, I think that's a big, big win. But coming up, going to talk a little bit more about Kawhi Leonard and then start answering questions from the fans. I got to tell you a little something about 5-hour energy. Daylight savings snuck up on us again. And if you're feeling that lost hour of sleep, 5-hour energy has your back. The extra sunshine means more time for fun, but sometimes you need a little boost to power through. Whether you're staying up late watching the NCAA tournament, squeezing in a round of golf after work, or just trying to keep up with your busy day, 5-hour energy gives you that quick, refreshing pick-me-up whenever you need it. I've been staying late to just do, I don't know, I stay up late all the time to do everything, and 5-hour energy helps keep me up the next day. Head to 5hourenergy.com to find over 15 flavors to choose from, including watermelon, blue raspberry, and peach mango. You can even build your own 12-pack or 24-pack delivered right to your door. Need one now? Grab a 5-hour energy shot at your local grocery or convenience store. They're everywhere. Stock up today and stay energized. All right. So talking about that number to a net rating thing, our offense it's been very clear why our offense has jumped up. It's Kawhi Leonard playing at a high level. It's James Harden and the insane month of March that he's having. For those that don't know, James Harden is having his best month of the season in March, which is crazy given that he's only missed 3 games the entire season and Zoo's only missed 2. But James is averaging 23 points a game on the year. And in the month of March, he is averaging 26, 6, and 9. 26, 6, and 9 on 43, 39, 85 splits. He's been quite spectacular. So you have that. You have Kawhi shooting the way he has. Zoo's been having an insane month where it feels like he's routinely dominating. And Bogdan Bogdanovic has averaged 12 points as a Clipper, and he's really helped the shooting. He's averaging 41% from 3 as a Clipper. So, I mean, our offense is really trending in the right direction. Now, in terms of defense, remember we were having that conversation about the way teams were shooting from 3 against us a couple weeks ago? Well, that has regressed back to the mean. So we are fine. You're starting to see that normal regression. Teams were not going to just shoot lights out constantly every single game. You know, the NBA is a league of talent, and, you know, things come in waves. So that was a wave of insane shooting. And now order has been restored. So let's talk a little bit about Kawhi. I mean, the way he's been playing the last couple of games, it started with the Cleveland game where I claimed that as the first game this season where I was like, oh my God, he's so good. I haven't had a moment like that this season yet. I had it last year. I had it in 2023. Basically every year he's been healthy at some point, multiple times a season, of course. But I hadn't had it yet this season. And against Cleveland, when I saw him schooling Evan Mobley, and you can always tell what kind of like physical shape Kawhi feels like he's in when he's getting a little more shifty with his handle, dribbling a little more with. There's a certain level of pep in his step that I've noticed since we got him. Mainly, honestly, 2021 onwards, where when I see him dribbling a certain way, I'm like, uh-oh. Like, the other team should be saying, uh-oh. Because, nah, like when he's moving like that, it's a little different. He's like moving a little different in a great way. So he's starting to look like that. And that's a little scary for the league. I heard, you know, these clips just get put on my timeline on Twitter. Like, I don't actually seek them out. But, you know, Stephen A was talking about, and Stephen A has been very, very anti-Kawhi since, I guess since he's been a Clipper. But I get it. It's because I understand how analysts probably feel. I mean, how do you think we feel as fans? You know, hearing about, if Kawhi's healthy, like there's no reason why any analyst or any people should believe that Kawhi's going to be healthy in the playoffs. The evidence just does not, as a Clipper, just does not lean in that direction. So I wouldn't, but the way Stephen A just kind of is like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Like, it just kind of like feels like it's in bad taste. But they were talking about it on ESPN, and Kendrick Perkins, of all people, was standing up for us. So that was interesting. I'll take it. I mean, he made some good points about our team. About Bogdanovich, Kendrick Perkins. He was saying, that people are underestimating the impact of Bogdanovich. That's all true. But let's take a look at some of the questions that were asked by the fans to me. It's kind of a last minute where I was like, hey, you guys got any questions for me? And yes, indeed, the people did. So let's go to some of them right now, starting with this one from my man, NPZ Hoops. So he asked me, does the lack of a second traditional five behind Ivica Zubac concern me entering the postseason? And if so, against which teams? Now, let me just say, I don't believe that we are a championship team. Now, when fully healthy, in theory, maybe, but I've said this last year, and I'm not going to change my opinion just because it's my team. Top 3 seeds are the ones that win rings, not below that. Only 2 teams in NBA history. Now, of course, the optimist is going to say, why can't we be the third? Well, the other 2 teams were defending champions. And why should I believe, as a Clipper fan, given all the bad stuff that's happened to us over the years and the bad luck that goes our way, that we're going to be in the 69 Celtics and 95 Rockets class? So when it comes to championship, yes, of course, I think not having a backup 5 is a major concern. You're not going to be able to win with Zoo just playing small ball in the second unit. It's not feasible. Drew Eubanks is not that guy. But I don't think any Clipper fans think we're going to win the championship this year. I think even someone like NMZ. Damn, did I say NPZ? Oh my God, I'm sorry, NMZ. NPZ is this guy that had amazing old school Laker content on YouTube. Shout out to NPZ too. Even though I'm a Clipper fan, he made some good had some old games for me to watch back in the day. But NMZ, my man from Seattle, Harden fan. Yeah, shout out. Sorry, NMZ. Anyway, do I think lack of backup 5 concerns us against Denver? No, because they don't really have one. OKC, yes. I feel like, although our small ball lineups are going to probably be able to counter their 5-out type of stuff easier, the fact that they have a 7-footer in a 5-out lineup and guys like Caruso who can crash the offensive glass, I think against OKC, I think every deficiency we have against OKC is an issue. Like the fact that they beat us the other day when we held SGA to 7 for 29 shooting and they didn't have J-Dub and Chet, it was like kind of insane that they still ended up winning. So against OKC, I think it's an issue. I think against the Lakers, it's not an issue. I don't think it's an issue against the Lakers. I don't think it's an issue against Memphis. I honestly don't think it'll be that. We'll see about Houston. I don't know how. I haven't watched Houston play in a while. Probably yes, honestly, because they have Steven Adams and Şengün. By the way, just an apology to everybody listening throughout the season. My knowledge of other teams has not been as sharp this season. It's like there's obvious reasons why. Like my life has changed. Next season, when I'll get back into a routine again, I will be better and it'll be normal again. But like, I'm going to be kind of scatterbrained in terms of other teams for the playoffs. I can tell you what other teams are about, but not the ins and outs of them the same way I was able to. But who else is there? I mean, the Denver Nuggets already mentioned. No other team to me in the West. I think it's really just OKC. It scares me. That's crazy that I'm saying that, though. I mean, and maybe Houston. But who am I forgetting? Nobody. The only teams above us are Memphis, Lakers, Denver, Houston, and OKC. So yeah, that's my answer. It is a concern. But that big of one, like against some of these teams, honestly, nah. I think we might be able to get away with it. I mean, we went to the conference finals with Boogie as our backup center, and in some games we even play him like that. So I know it's a couple years later, but I think we can still make some noise, honestly. But that's my answer to that. Coming up, going to answer some more questions, stuff about Amir Coffey, a really interesting lineup that I wanted to share with everybody. So stay tuned for that. I got to tell you a little something about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. March Madness is here, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's 200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. With tournament games happening almost every day, there's always something exciting to bet on. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. I've been mentioning USC and UCLA women's basketball, and that Juju Watkins news makes me want to jump off a cliff. Kawhi, Cam Brink, and Juju Watkins have all torn their ACL in the last 5 years, and that makes me want to die, but I can't imagine what she's feeling like, so I would not bet on USC to win it all anymore, but make sure you're adjusting, or maybe maybe risk it all on them winning without Juju. Who knows? But anyway, you know where to go for that. FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. All right, Clippers. Talking about some more questions from the fans. Now, there's this very interesting lineup data that I found. So everybody loves using lineup data and on-off numbers and stuff like that. And I always say that the reason why I don't get super stat heavy, especially advanced stat heavy, is because I just don't believe in like all these advanced stats so much. Like I think it's interesting. They're interesting nuggets to share, but I don't believe that yes, maybe I'm ignorant and like people can say whatever they want, but like I trust my eye test more than numbers, because when I tell you what lineup has played because I looked at every single lineup that's played 60 or more minutes for us this season, right? And I want to see what the net ratings were. 5-man lineups, just full lineups, 5-man. And the lineup with the highest net rating, plus 42.2, and has played over 60 minutes, is James Harden, Ivica Zubac, Norman Powell. So, okay, that sounds pretty good. That sounds accurate. Chris Dunn, and wait for it, Amir Coffey. So, by that metric, does that mean that that's our best lineup? Has the eye test backed that up at all? I don't think it has. I don't think it has at all. And who knows what these 62 minutes consist of, what situation in the games they were. You know what I'm saying? But look, maybe I'd try that lineup out against Cleveland because, like Ty made that comment, Amir might start against Cleveland because I think we're going to rest some guys. But, Amir's going to obviously play. And that honestly brings me to my next question. Before I go any further with lineup data, that brings me to my next question. Somebody asked about Coffey. Let me find that comment. Someone said, it's Derek K. Lee. Shout out to Derek K. Lee, Clipper fan, says, I like Amir, and he's given us some great games, but I do see some people posting plus minus that reflect that he's actually a net negative for us on the floor and didn't actually see the floor the last game. Do you think he gets bumped out of the rotation? So that's a really good question, actually. And the reason why I shared this lineup data is because I just wanted to see it. And the funny part is that he's in our best lineup statistically, but he's not in our next. There's 9 lineups that have played 60 or more minutes. He's in the top one, and he's also in the the 6th one. And then the 7th, which you start getting in the negatives. So besides that one lineup, I mean, look, I don't need lineup data to see that Amir Coffey is probably like our 10th best player, right? Like the 4 best players are very clear. And then I would say Derek Jones Jr. 5th, Bogdanovich 6th. And those two are interchangeable depending on what you value. But I think Derek Jones Jr. is being a starter on a team that's made the finals. I would go with him. And then I would go with Bogey. And then Chris Dunn, probably 7th, or Nico, honestly. Nico. And then it's between Amir Coffey and Ben Simmons. So take your pick there. But, I mean, in the playoffs, I wouldn't mind. I would say those first 8 I mentioned have to be a given, but depending on matchups, we go with Ben or Amir. Because I like Ben Simmons in the small ball lineups, but you cannot play him with Zoo, and there might be some times where he and Chris Dunn share the court, and against good defensive teams in the playoffs, it's going to be too much of a burden. So I don't think Ben Simmons, honestly, like I really like what he brings to the table. I think he's been just as good as I expected him to be, but maybe even a tad better. But like, he and Amir Coffey are interchangeable to me in the playoffs. So the answer to that is, yeah, there might be some games where we don't even need Amir. And because this is what I'll say, this is what I've learned about Amir this year. And if you look at his stats, they're actually pretty good. You know, just no, his basketball IQ is just not very high. And defensively, he's not great. He's not very good, I should say, especially off ball. On ball, I actually don't think he's that bad. But off ball, he's pretty bad. He averages 10 points a game, right? So he's one of the people that's in double figures this season. We have 7 guys, actually. Amir, Derek, Bogey, and then the big 4 all averaging double figures. Of course, we've only had Bogey for 20 games. But when you look at Amir, he is shooting 47, 41, 90 splits if you round up with the free throws. So, I mean, that's insanely good shooting percentages for a role player. So maybe I'm being harsh. Like, whenever I look at those numbers, I'm like, am I being harsh? But he is 9th or 10th no matter what. However, is he like, I think he's probably proven that he should get playoff minutes maybe every game, but just not as many minutes as he gets. That's the only problem. I think Ty sometimes just rides with him too much because of that 40% from 3. But he's very limited in the other things that he can do. So, and his 3-point percentage on the road is pretty different than what it is at home. So I would go with my answer being no, he should not be taken out of the rotation. But I think if Ty only wants to go 9 deep in a playoff game and the matchup favors Ben Simmons more, then I'm fine with him getting a DNP. But because of his 3-point percentage, I don't know if he's going to be a DNP. We'll see. Because Chris Dunn can go broke sometimes. And if you play 8 players and 3 of them are not going to be reliable past 10 feet or outside the paint, which Chris Dunn, Ben Simmons, and Zubac, it's the case with them, you might need Amir Coffey. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, or should I say 3 out of 9, a third of the rotation, if you don't count Amir. So, good question, Derek. Good question indeed. Now, I didn't look at like how much worse we are with him on the floor versus off. I just looked at the 5-man lineup data. But yeah, you could probably find some stat that shows that he's like not good or something. Like, that's why I say that the stats, you can cherry pick it every way you want. Someone asked, how far can this team go with Kawhi and Harden? If we get bounced in the first round, do we finally blow it up? Whew. That's a really tough question. If Kawhi ends the first round healthy and we lose, I would assume it's hard to imagine that we like just lose first round and Kawhi is healthy and there's not like some kind of fireworks. Like, did we take the Nuggets to 7 in a grueling series? Because if that's the case, the way the Clippers operate, I feel like they'll want to run it back. But what they could think about is like, look, we got Kawhi healthy for a series. That's the best we might get. His value, some other teams might take a flyer on him. This is the time to pivot and get some stuff back. Because it's not going to get, like, I don't think we're going to have a better chance next year with this team. I think this, honestly, with the fact that James Harden avoided a major scare with that foot injury, if this is the one that Kawhi is going to be healthy, this is the best chance. I know we're not going to be a home court advantage team probably, but like, you can't ask for better timing in terms of Kawhi's body ramping up at the right time. You can't ask for what's been a really solid defensive-minded supporting cast that really supports Kawhi Leonard's basketball principles. It's a slow team. It's a half-court team. It's a defense-first team. That's a Kawhi Leonard team. That's kind of a Kawhi Leonard traits. You know, he's not a fast-paced, fast-break guy. He's always played in a great half-court offense with the Spurs. And I mean, I have to go back and check. I don't remember the Raptors' offense being insane. I remember their defense being great. But when it comes down to it, like, everybody always says, ISO ball, it's such, and yes, ISO ball is not great basketball, but in the NBA playoffs, you are going to need isolation basketball to create advantages for you, and that's where the Michael Jordans, the LeBrons, the Kobes, everybody, you know what I mean? Any great scorer you can think of. You need one-on-one, you need to draw 2 onto the ball, or make tough shots. That's how it goes. So then we have another question. Someone asked, what's the greatest Clipper player nickname of all time? I'm asking the real questions. That's my boy Lil V. Honestly, I think nicknames have really, really been awful in the NBA compared to the past. Like, we had Chocolate Thunder, Dr. J, Magic. You know what I'm saying? Now we have SGA, Ant, JT, AD. It's so LBJ. The King is good. The King is good. You know, back the best everybody has some crazy nickname back in the day. Stormin' Norman Nixon. Like, and then we're like Stormin' Norman Powell. Like, no, bro, that was Norm Nixon. Like, it's fun. It's great. But you know what I went with? I went with the Polish rifle, Eric Piakowski, and the Candy Man, Michael Olowokandi. Like Q Rich is not a creative nickname. That's just Quentin Richardson just saying Q, just shortening both of his names. You know what I mean? Cat Mobley, it's a good one, but that's not a. I'm gonna have to go with the Polish rifle and the Candyman. If you have any other ones, throw them down. CP3, how creative. BG, like what? J Crossover is not bad. Mr. Big Shot was a great one, but obviously I don't think of Chauncey as a Clipper like that. So Caveman, Chris Kaman, but I'm gonna go with the Polish rifle and the Candyman. And then is Zoo All NBA this year? I'd have to really sit down. It's positionless now, right? So like I'd have to really sit down. Probably not. I don't think Zoo's been a top 15 player in the league, but maybe top 20, top 25. Someone asked if the choices are a series between the Lakers or Denver, which would you prefer? Absolutely Denver. I would rather have Denver. The Lakers, although they've been playing badly lately, but the whole home court advantage thing really trips me out. And like I don't want to see LeBron and Luka in a series. The thing about Denver is they have Jokic, but I'm not as nervous about those other guys. I think we have the guys to put on Jamal Murray and Westbrook in the playoffs. Like, I love him. He's going to win him a game, but he'll lose him a game too. And then, so everybody's asking me who's the ideal first round matchup. Obviously Memphis. And then the fact that they changed their coach, I think maybe the vibes will be better. It's clearly, if you make a move like this, I've never seen anything like this. To fire a coach this late in the season, it's obviously something internal that had to have happened. So the players were probably pushing for this. That being said, nobody ever replaces their coach with 10 games left in the season. I would love to play them in the playoffs. So, and then someone said, what's the team's ceiling? I've already kind of addressed that a couple episodes ago. It's not really possible to talk about until I get a larger sample size of Norman Powell. Like last game, a good version of Norm meshed with this team. Are the 4 and 5 seeds realistically in reach? This is my man Drift that's been on the show before asking this question. Are they realistically in reach? I mean, I'm looking at it right now. The 5 seed... Yes, actually, 2 games difference. And 4, honestly, we're not out of it. We're kind of back in the race. They are in reach. Honestly. Those back-to-backs are going to be tricky. But if we can win those 2 Dallas games, I think that could go a long way. So, yeah, what are the key matchups? I think those 2 Dallas games. Because you just don't know what version of Dallas you're going to get. So that we got to take advantage there. So thank you to all the questions, my Clipper fans. And, of course, NMZ Hoops, who's a Harden fan, but he lives in Seattle, so... just a hoops enjoyer. I give him a pass for that because I'm always really. But also he's one of the Harden stands that I can like tolerate. But I don't even want to call him that because when his Sonics come back, that'll be a great day for him. So appreciate you for the question, NMZ. You guys should go follow all those people at NMZ Hoops on Twitter, at Drift to the Music on Twitter. He's a huge Clipper fan, local guy. And then Mason Cook was always in my vlogs, the leader of one of the section leaders of the Wall, the Swell, at M Cook Mr. F. At Lil V _ and then at TSO _ Rick Rack for the Lakers Denver question. And then the greatest Clipper nickname was also that Lil V. And then you got at Method Man 13 for Derek. So appreciate you all. And my man Angel at the end with the how far can this team go? Should we blow it up if we lose in the first round? That's my man Angel right there, who used to be in the vlogs all the time last year. So appreciate you all. Have a great one. Go Clips. Have a great weekend. I'll talk to you on Saturday. Oh, and the age-old proverb continues, go Clippers.